The worst punishments in history.
The poena culae. This ancient Roman penalty, also known as the punishment of the sack, was reserved specifically for those who committed parricide. The condemned person was sewn into a large leather bag along with a live dog, a rooster, a viper, and a monkey. Once the bag was securely fastened, it was hauled to a nearby river or the sea and cast into the water. This method was designed to strip the individual of a dignified death, forcing them to perish in a chaotic struggle with terrified animals while being denied a final resting place on land. Ling Chi, often translated as death by 1,000 cuts, this form of execution was practiced in China from the 10th century until it was officially banned in 1905. The process involved the methodical removal of portions of the body over an extended period, requiring the executioner to be highly skilled to ensure the victim remained conscious for as long as possible. It was intended as the ultimate public humiliation, as Confucian belief held that a body must remain whole to respect one's ancestors. By fragmenting the physical form, the state exerted control over the person's status even in the afterlife. Drawing and quartering. This was the highest penalty for treason in England, a multi-stage process that served as a visceral warning to anyone who would challenge the crown. The prisoner was first dragged to the execution site on a wooden hurdle, then hanged by the neck until they were nearly dead but still conscious. In the final stage, the body was divided into 4 parts, which were often sent to different corners of the kingdom to be displayed on city gates. This ensured that the king's justice was visible to the entire population, turning a single execution into a national message of authority. The keel haul. This maritime punishment was utilized by various navies, most notably the Dutch, to discipline sailors for severe offenses at sea. The individual was weighted with lead and tied to a rope that passed under the belly of the ship from one side to the other. They were then jerked into the water and dragged beneath the hull, where the ship's bottom was often encrusted with razor-sharp barnacles. If the sailor didn't drown from being held underwater, they often succumbed to the massive blood loss caused by the jagged shells tearing into their skin and muscle. Damnatio ad bestias. This Roman practice involved sentencing criminals or prisoners of war to be killed by wild animals in a public arena. Unlike a gladiator who had a chance to fight back, those sentenced to the beasts were often unarmed or bound, facing lions, bears, or leopards for the entertainment of a cheering crowd. While it provided a grisly spectacle, the underlying purpose was to demonstrate the power of the Roman state over both the natural world and the enemies of the empire. It turned a legal execution into a highly orchestrated piece of political theater. Flaying. This practice involved the slow removal of the skin from a living person and has been documented across various cultures, including the Neo-Assyrians and the Aztecs. The skin was often removed in one continuous piece to be displayed on city walls or temple structures as a trophy of conquest. In many societies, this was not just about the physical agony, but about the total erasure of the person's identity. By turning a human being into a literal tapestry of skin, the rulers hoped to instill a lasting sense of dread in any surrounding rival nations. The bamboo torture. This method, commonly associated with parts of East and Southeast Asia, took advantage of the incredible growth speed of certain bamboo species. The victim would be securely tied down over a patch of freshly sprouting bamboo shoots, which can grow several inches in a single day. Because the tips of the young plants are sharp and incredibly strong, they would slowly pierce through the skin and eventually grow entirely through the body of the person trapped above them. It was a passive but relentless process that used the natural world to turn time itself into a weapon. The iron boot. Used primarily in Scotland and France during the late Middle Ages,
This device consisted of iron plates that encased the leg from the ankle to the knee. Wedges were driven between the plates using a heavy mallet, which would progressively crush the bones of the lower leg and foot. It was most frequently used during interrogations to extract information, as each strike of the mallet offered the victim a chance to speak before the next bone was shattered. The permanent disfiguration meant that even those who survived the ordeal were often unable to walk for the rest of their lives.
Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more.